And one day they nailed him to die on the tree, suffering anguish, despised and rejected, bearing our sins, my Redeemer is he. Living he loved me, dying he saved me, buried he carried my sins far away. Rising he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day. My last verse. One day the trumpet will sound for his coming. One day the skies with his glories will shine. Wonderful day, my beloved ones bringing. Glorious Savior, this Jesus is mine. Living he loved me, dying he saved me, buried he carried my sins far away. Rising he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day. It's supposed to sound something like that. I don't know if we got the tune exactly right. All right, anybody have a prayer request? Spoken request? Sierra Schilling? Blonde haired girl? If it's that sounds like this is the girl that okay, because there was a Sierra that came here a long time ago when she was a kid. It's not the Sierra. It's not the Sierra that used to come here. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Anybody else with a spoken request? Still scheduled for tomorrow. Patty's here. I don't know what time. I'll try to find out tonight. Patty will know. Patty's back to okay. Heartcast. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll pray that the insurance never accepts it, so the pharmacy always just sends it. That'd be the best way. No. Okay. Anybody else? Any unspoken requests that I'm going to pray about and not finish that now? All right. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to be in your house this evening, Lord, and thank you for the opportunity that we can come to you. We know that you hear and answer prayers, and we give you thanks and praise for all you've done for us so far, and we're thankful that Michelle's medicines sent to her, and that's going to work out. And I'm thankful that Marcia's sister's recovering from surgery. I pray for those that are facing surgery, for Bruce tomorrow and Aunt Joe next week. I pray that you'll bless these surgeries and the procedures, that your will be accomplished, and that you'll grant them good health. I pray for recovery for those that have gone through it and are still fighting the battle. I pray for give them physical strength to fight the battles that they have. I pray for the lost people around us in our community and in our families, that we'll see them saved. I pray that you'll use us as a church family for your glory, that we'll be a light in our community and light to our family members. That we should bless in our classes tonight, the kids that are here that are lost, that we'll see them saved. And bless in our class here in the auditorium, that will bring you glory. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. We have a couple announcements. One is Grits Farm is this Saturday. We're planning to leave here at 6 a.m. No, at 9. We're going to leave here at 9. They open at 10, so it takes us about an hour to get down there. The church is paying for the kids that come. If I'm going to throw out one. If one of the kids back here brings 5 of their friends from school, I don't know if we're going to pay for a whole bunch of kids to come that we've never seen before, but we've kind of done that in the past. But the church plans to pay for the kids that come, and the adults that come, and then we invite visitors, and we'll see what we can do to help. But we can't promise to pay for everybody, because someone may show up with Maranatha run their bus and pick up all the kids and bring 37 kids. Oh, Brother John's paid for it. Kevin might do that. So we'll leave here at 9, get down there at 10. We'll stay till about 2 and come back home. So we'll have everyone back here by 3 o'clock. Okay. Take extra money for food, pumpkins. If you want to buy pumpkins or mums, and it's food while you do it. That is this Saturday. And then this, I got this in the mail the other day from Maranatha Baptist Church. Sissonville Community Christmas Choir. There'll be a performance on December 7th, and everyone who likes to sing, all the Christian churches are invited to sing with them. There's going to be a Sissonville Community Christmas Festival. Okay, December 7th. And when I got this, I didn't know what it was about. I just got this in the mail, and I'll respond to Kevin and say, yeah, we'll have whoever wants to sing. We'll show up and practice to sing. Okay. The first rehearsal will be Saturday, November 23rd. That's coming up. That's a good ways off. But December 7th is when they sing. They're going to sing at the library. But we'll practice singing at Maranatha Baptist Church. Here's what's going on. The city of Charleston has moved their Christmas parade to a Thursday evening. It is now called a winter parade. Jesus is not allowed to come. There's nothing that can be there that says Christmas. There's no manger scene. He is not allowed to come to be. He's not been invited to his own birthday party, because it's not his birthday party anyway for them. So, and they're not allowed. They're not allowed to bring anything religious. Menorah. They can't bring anything religious to the Charleston's Christmas parade and their festivities that they celebrate winter. So this was on Facebook, and I didn't know all this stuff was going on. There's a list of things that are taking place on Saturday, December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Day. There's things for the, and I can't read this because it's really small print. Even with my glasses, I can't read this. Tammy had to read it off to me. There will be things starting at the library and at the high school all day long for veterans and for the crafts fair and all kinds of stuff. And so people were on Facebook saying, forget about Charleston, go to Sissonville for the real Christmas. So I don't know how many people will show up for this stuff, but we will have a sing. There'll be music. There'll be a lot of stuff going on that day. And you have to look it up on Facebook or something. I'm sure there'll be advertisements for different things going on at the high school and at the library. And there will be a parade, like we did the football throughout the footballs at the parade there. a week or so ago, and some of our people want to put a float in for this parade, but this will be professionally judged floats. Well, some professionals will be here judging the floats, so we will have, there will be, Sissonville will be, schools will be doing floats, churches will be doing floats, or ball teams, or whatever, whoever wants to, civic groups want to do floats, so the parade should be pretty big, okay? That's December, so if you don't want to be stuck in traffic, don't come to Sissonville December 7th to go somewhere else. But if you want to be stuck in traffic and have a good time, everyone in Charleston is going to come out our way, okay? So that's December 7th, and I'm excited about that because it's saying we're still going to celebrate Christmas. And Charleston's not, but we are, okay? If you have questions on that, there'll be more to come. Hopefully we'll have more information by Sunday. Okay? And we got testimony. God's blessed you in some way. You want to tell everybody about it. You want to tell everyone how good God's been to you. You want to tell everybody about it. I've had a good week. That's why just a whole real busy week, and the rest of the week's going to be real busy. Rob retires Friday, and if there's any way I can get back in town by noon Friday, I want to go to his retirement thing because he's a chief of the fire department. He's retiring, so I just kind of want to get back to that if I can. It's at the fire station on the west side, on West Washington. Yeah, it's at the fire station, his retirement celebration thing. And he's talked to me about it a couple times. It's like the perfect time to get the right person in as the next chief, and there's all kinds of reasons for it. You know, so that's pretty good. So, but there's been a lot going on. Mike went with me yesterday. He spent about 12 hours with me in the truck, and we had a good time. But it was, yeah, I don't know. It's just fun. It's a lot of fellowship, a lot of good time. Okay, but it's a real busy week. But like everything is busy is good, rather than sitting on the couch with nothing to do, right? I've never been bored in my life. Boredom to me, as we were taught this 30 years ago, boredom is a sign of a sick mind. Because if you're bored, then you should have something. There's probably something else you're supposed to be doing right now that you're not, right? Okay. Anybody else have testimony? That was my testimony for today. Going once, going twice. Okay. Where have we been studying? 2 Kings chapter 4. Second Kings chapter 4. We'll review just a little bit of the story, the first part of the story. Okay, first part of the chapter. The preacher this time is Elisha, and everybody knows who he is. Okay, in the first part of the story, last week we taught on being content, where Elisha was he met this woman, provided meals for him. Then she built a house a room inside the house for him and Gehazi, his servant, and when Elisha said, what can be done for you? She said, I dwell among my own people. We taught on this lesson last week on just being content, and the lady was completely content. She didn't need anything, but she didn't have any children. And so Gehazi went back and told Elisha, she doesn't have any kids. And they're getting old, so Elisha had her come back to the tent, to the room, and he said, this time next year you'll have a baby. You're going to have a son. Okay, so let's find out what happens to the son, because this child then is a miracle in his birth, and because she wasn't going to have children, and then his entire life. Let's go. 2 Kings chapter 4. I'm going to start reading down in verse 16, because I'm going to review, because the last part of the story that we just told you. And he, that's Elisha, said, about this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. And she said, nay, my Lord, thou man of God, do not lie unto thine handmaid, since I'm too old to have a baby, and I never had a baby yet. And a woman conceived and bare a son. At that season, Elisha said unto her, according to the time of life. And when the child was grown, it fell on the day that he went out to his father to the reapers, the all field workers. And he said unto his father, my head, my head. And he said to the lad, carry him to his mother. Stop reading right there, okay? So this little boy goes out to his dad works in the field, and he's got servants, other people out there working in the field with him. And the boy goes out to work in the field with his dad, but he's small enough for someone to carry him back to the house. So he's not a big kid. He's just a child. Okay, so maybe, who knows whether he's 3 years old or 8 years old, whatever age it is. But while he's out there with his dad, he starts grabbing his head, saying, my head, and his dad can't quit working. His dad turns to one of the servants and says, carry him back to the house, to his mother. Okay? So the servant scoops him up and runs him to the house. Okay? Let's read. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, then died. Okay? Well, John, things don't always go so well for godly people. Exactly right. So his mom is holding her baby, and he died. Okay? She went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door upon him, and went out. And she called unto her husband, and said, Send me, I pray thee, one of the young men, and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of God, and come again. And he said, Wherefore would I go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. It's not a holiday. It's not Sunday. We don't go to church today. There's Saturday, Sabbath day. And she said, It shall be well. Now, where's her son at right now? He's dead, laying on Elisha's bed. And when her husband says, Why don't you go see the preacher? She said, It'll be okay. It shall be well. So everything's okay. She doesn't know what's going to happen. She has no guarantee. There's no guarantee that anything could happen to her, good could happen to her son at the point he is dead. It's not that he passed out because something in his head. You think, what happened to this boy? Aneurysm in his brain, whatever. He's grabbed his head and starts saying, my head. And they run into the house, and by noon he's gone. Okay? You know, if he's going out to the field in the morning with his dad, then you think kid's fine, right? And by noon he's gone. What tragedy, right? I mean, we think tragedies happen to everybody at one point or another. Okay? And she said, last part of verse 23, It shall be well. And then she saddled the ass and said to her servant, Drive and go forward. Slack not thy riding from me, except I bid thee. She tells the servant, You go as fast as you can, and I'll keep up. So she went and came into the man of God to Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of God saw her far off, that he said to Gehazi, his servant, Behold, yonder is that Shunammite. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with thee? Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of God to the hill, she caught him by the feet. And Gehazi came near to thrust her away. And the man of God said, Let her alone, for her soul was vexed within her, and the Lord hath hid it from me, and hath not told me. Then she said, Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did not I say, Do not deceive me? That's what she said, verse 16. She said, Don't lie to that handmaid. Don't tell me I'm going to have a son. I'm not going to have a son. Don't lie to me. Then she said, Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did not I say, Do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up thy loins and take my staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou wilt meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child. And the mother of the child said, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. So Elisha's going, and the mother's going, but Gehazi's running ahead with Elisha's staff and saying, Okay. Gehazi passed on, verse 31. Gehazi passed on before them and laid the staff on the face of the child, but there was neither voice nor hearing. Wherefore he went again to meet him and told him, saying, The child is not awake. When Elijah came to the house, behold, the child was dead and laid upon his bed. He went in, therefore, and shut the door upon them twain, and prayed unto the Lord. And he went up and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. Then he returned and walked in the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon the child. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi and said, Call the Shunammite. So he called her. And when she was come in unto him, he said, Take up thy son. And she went in and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground. And he took up her son and went out. Can you imagine this? The child's dead. She takes the time, tells her husband everything's okay. But she gets on the donkey and rides to find the preacher. She knows where the preacher's at. She went to the preacher. The preacher sends Gehazi back with a rod in his hand, laid this rod upon the child. Doesn't do any good. Gehazi comes back to meet them as they're coming back to the house. So then he's dead. There's nothing to help. And so Elisha goes in, shuts the door, lays on the child, mouth on his mouth, eyes on his eyes, hands on his hands. He's begging God to do something. Do something. Because the woman said, Look, I didn't even ask for a child. I wanted the child, but I didn't ask for a child. And I told you not to lie to me about giving me a baby. She's talking to the preacher, but really she's talking to God by saying, I wanted a child. I asked for a child, but I didn't really expect you to. And now I got this child. And he's gone. Okay? But she had enough faith that she said, Her husband says, everything okay? Because she's asking, send a servant with a donkey, set on an ass, and we're going. She says, it shall be well. And when Gehazi meets her, she said, it is well. Okay? You know what that's called? Faith. Believing God can do something, whether he's going to do it or not, we don't know. Begging God to do something, whether he's going to do something or not, we don't know. Right? A lot of times we ask and ask and ask, do we expect something? A lot of times we don't expect anything. But she's already told the preacher, told her husband everything's okay. Right? Everything's okay. But her son's laying there dead. Before she got to Elisha, she said it should be well. Before her son was raised, she said it should be well. Before Elisha came to his house, she said it shall be well. She has all this confidence in God that he can do this. She's sure that he's going to. Faith says, I know he can. I believe the miracles he's performed. I know what he's done in the past. I know he's always provided. He's been good to us all our life. Faith says, I know what he can do. I just don't know he's going to sometimes. Faith is always mixed with a little bit of doubt. But Jesus said, if you have the faith of a grain of mustard seed, you can say this mountain, move down hence into the sea, cast it into the sea. But how much faith do you have? Okay? How much confidence do you have that God can do something? And will you? It's not like bragging that you know God's going to do something, or bragging that saying you can do something. It might be our prior conversation yesterday. Confidence is saying, I did this in the past, I know I can do it again. Arrogance is someone who says, I've never done this, but I know I can. Okay, there's people that are real arrogant and say they can't do anything. Anything you can do, I can do better. Remember that song? And they think they can do anything. But this is not confidence in man or anything that she can do. This is not confidence in Elisha. This is not confidence in Gehazi or Elisha's rod. This is saying, you got to do something. You got to do something. Okay? In our songbooks, the song says that the name of the song is It Is Well. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, you know the song, is well. The man who wrote the song when he had traveled across the English Channel. His wife and kids were coming over later, and their boat capsized in a storm. And so he didn't know what had happened. He just knew the boat had gone down. So she'd gone back to the other side. They hadn't got all the way across. She'd gone back. She made it back. So people were sending telegraphs back and forth across, find out what had happened, who's alive, it's not like CNN, we just turn it on now and find out the list of the names and stick a camera in some of those things. He texted his wife. He sent a telegraph to his wife. She sent it back, and the only word she said was saved alone. That means the children were gone. He sat down and wrote that song. It is well with my soul. Well, I couldn't write that. Okay. It's easy to have a lot of faith when everything's going good, right? When everything's perfect, the job's going well. Mike and I had this long conversation yesterday about the day that he quit his job as a salesman, right, and went to work for the state. And you think, when days are going great, you have this perfect outcome of life. It's easy to say, isn't God good? What about the worst day of your life? Okay. 5 people in this room that I know of lost a spouse. I'm not sure how many have lost children, but I know more than one. On the worst day of your life, what kind of faith can you say it is well? While her son was dead and laying on the prophet's bed, she said it as well. Okay? In reading the Bible, a lot of times we get the end of the story. Like in this story, we get the end of the story. But on that day, she didn't know what the end of the story was. Right? I mean, later on she did, but at noon when the child died, she didn't know the end of the story. 3 weeks ago on Friday night, the boy died of playing football from Rome County High School. Okay? The end of that story is not that he came back to life after he died. The end of that story was 30 people got saved at his funeral. Okay? then the story may not be the way we write it out, or the way we would want to write it out. There's a king in the Old Testament who was a young king, and God said, judgment's coming on Israel, but because you found favor in my sight, I'm taking you home early. So this young king died at an early age because of the judgment that was coming after he died. Okay? And you think that's tragic for that young man to die at that age, but there's something else that's going to happen that would be worse than dying. After my mom had died, and a bunch of Dad's friends had died, he was in his 80s. He said, "There's something worse than dying." I said, "What's that, Dad?" He said, "Outliving all your friends." Because the only friend that he had left of his close friends that were friends all his life was Larry's dad, who's still alive today. Never seen him. But the rest of his friends, basically all the names, including my mom, all of those people were gone. And for Dad, it was just awful. Okay. When we read the story, we get the end of the story, right? The Shunammite's son was raised from the dead. We read about the leper that was healed. We know about Jesus' resurrection after he was crucified, the promise of eternity in heaven. But we also know that Shunammite's son eventually is going to die again, right? Doesn't die at a young age, but he does die again. Lazarus, who was raised from the grave, is going to have to die again. He's probably looking forward to it the second time. Knows what's going to happen. Not really scared of it like a lot of people are the first time. The leper that is cleansed eventually dies of something else. I mean, not die of leprosy, but it dies of something else. We also know that sometimes people have problems and they're never taken away. Like Paul had a thorn in the flesh. Whatever that thorn in the flesh was, whether it was a vision problem or whatever speech impediment, whatever the problem was, whatever his thorn in the flesh was, he said, 3 times I asked God to take this thorn away from me, this problem away from me. And God's response is, my grace is sufficient for thee. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Because he says, I allow you to go through that because I have something that you can do, that I can do through you, that if you were perfectly whole, you wouldn't be able to do. Okay? Any questions or comments on this? Right. Exactly right. Even when we think everything's going to be fine, it doesn't turn out the way we think it's going to be. Okay. When my mom died, Dad called to come down. Mom can't breathe. I ran down there. Within minutes, she was gone. But the paramedics came, brought her back, and so Tam and I were in the car going to Becky. Preacher came to the house. Becky Preacher came to the house. Or Becky came to the house because Rebecca was asleep. Becky was with Rebecca. Tam and I were driving to the hospital, and by the time we got there, Mom was gone. Gone for the last time gone. But from the time we left the house to the time we got to the hospital, we thought everything was okay. Whatever was wrong was cleared, and she was okay. But it didn't go as we thought. Okay, so that few moments we think it was okay. That is not. I don't know exactly how many, but I'd say half our church has lost children, lost a child. Okay, either our first child Sarah died the day she was born. I mean, whatever it is, but half our church has gone through that. And you think, well, that's not a perfect story, but there's been times when that is a perfect story to give to somebody else that needs that story, or somebody you're witnessing to. And when you think about heaven, it becomes real to you when you think about the people that you've lost. Correct. That's correct. Correct. Right. Yeah, she's talking. He's not understanding. He's talking. Yeah. Right. Correct. That's right. And she wouldn't be talking about to Elisha on the way. She's talking to anybody, it's to God. And Elisha's talking to anybody, he's talking to God. Right? And it's not. And there's been situations when you're with somebody, you want to talk to them, and you just can't say anything, so you silently pray, or and that's a perfect picture of it, because you can't. There's nothing Elisha could say to her while they're walking down the road that she'd interpret, she'd understand anyway. Okay. Right. Right. It, there has been situations where someone says, "I know the outcome," and it turned out they didn't know the outcome. Someone with a lot of faith, but it wasn't based on scriptures. Their faith was. I mean, we can all grab a Bible verse and twist it the way we want. Judas went and hanged himself. Go down and do likewise. And you can twist it to say anything you want, right? But I was with somebody who quoted a scripture and said, "I know what's going to happen," okay, and they just know it. And I was like, "You don't know that," and it didn't happen the way they did, what they expected. Okay? It didn't happen exactly as they said. Before we know the end of the story, can we say all is well? Here it is well, or it will be. She said. First time to her husband, she said, "It shall be well." And the second time, she said, "It is well." Okay? Before we know the end of the story, that's faith by saying, "I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust you." Right? That's a lot of faith by saying, everybody in the room's been through it different times. I don't know what it's happened, but I trust you anyway. Okay? One of the greatest singers, songwriters that I've listened to for the last 38 years or something is Ron Hamilton. He was diagnosed with cancer in his eye. He went through his surgery, and the doctors told him you have a 50-50 chance of losing your eye. Once we get in there, we won't know until we get in there whether we're going to take the eye or leave the eye. So he didn't know until after surgery was over that he lost his eye. He was a singer and songwriter in his church, a musician or song director or something like that in his church. After surgery, they took the bandage off. The eye was gone, and he lost his eye. He sat down and wrote because then he's leading singing. He's got a patch over his eye, right? And some kid comes up to him afterwards and says, "Hey, are you a pirate?" And he changed his name. I mean, his legal name is still Ron Hamilton, who wrote all these songs. But his theme for the last 40 years, he's still alive today. For the last 40 years, his theme song is this: "God never moves without purpose or plan. When trying a servant and molding a man, give thanks to the Lord, though your testing seems long. In darkness he giveth a song. So rejoice in the Lord, he makes no mistakes. He knoweth the end of each path that I take. For when I am tried and purified, I shall come forth as gold." When they mine minerals out of the ground, silver or gold, they heat it up to remove the impurities, right? When we're tested, it removes the impurities within us. Because a lot of times when we're tested, God's saying, "I got something bigger for you to do next, but I got to get rid of this over here." It doesn't mean that every test is a trial of our faith that says we got something wrong. It is often God saying, I got something for you to do. Pastor Pirate would never have been if Ron Hamilton hadn't lost an eye through the cancer. And God says, "I got something for you to do. I'm always working." When I read this story, I understand these stories are written down. He is working in every individual's life, one way or another. Every person in this room, every person in the community, Every person in Charleston that got on the news and found out today that Jesus wasn't invited to the Christmas play anymore. Okay? He is working. God is working on every heart. The Holy Spirit speaks to everyone differently, but He's working in everyone's life. Okay? I trust God's word to be true. I trust God's grace to be sufficient, as it was for Paul, Apostle Paul. And I trust God's timing to be perfect. Even when we think He's late, like if Lazarus, when Lazarus was sick. You think, why are you late? Mary and Martha came out. Martha, the one who was always serving, not the one who sat at His feet during the teaching. Martha, the one who was serving, came out and said, if you had been here, my brother had not died, but even now, whatever you do, whatever you say will happen. Mary just came out, the one who was always sitting at His feet during the teaching time, weeping. She was the one who said, if you had been here, my brother had not died. Which one had more faith at that point? I think Martha did. Okay? So to finish the story, sure, God gets the glory. When we finish our story, the trial we go through, whatever it is, God gets the glory for everything that happens. If we don't like it, He gets the glory for it anyway. Some way or another. Just like the young man at the football game a couple weeks ago. Or the young mother that has a three-month-old baby that diagnosed with cancer. 5-6 years ago, I got a call from my cousin that my cousin's son passed away, 22 years old. Andy Brad, good kid, just a good kid. He had one of those crotch rocket motorcycles that's flying all over the place every time. And he rode a unicycle through town and stuff. And he's just a very athletic kid. Went to college on baseball scholarship. Real athletic kid. He was hurting in his groin. He thought he pulled something sports wise or motorcycle or whatever he was doing. He thought he just pulled something. Okay. Turned out he had testicular cancer. By the time they went to the doctor over it, he had, I think it was 7 weeks to live. I mean, they did everything they could during those next few weeks to try to save his life. And when the doctors came and sold him, because he got saved during that time, got the assurance. Put it back. He got the assurance of his salvation during that 7-week time period. And when the doctors, he was in the room with his mom and dad, and when the doctor said, "There's nothing else we can do," he just had a couple of days. He got up and walked across the room and thanked him. Said, "Thanks for all you've done." They'd done all that they could, but he was fine with it. Okay, and his parents' testimony was he was grateful for the time that he had. How could they not be grateful for the time that he had? Right? Okay. Anything else? Any comments, questions? Okay. Right. It's a lot of faith. And they have both said, we're not praying for healing. We're asking God to show us what He wants us to show us. What He wants to show us. What He wants us to learn. That's tremendous. Bruce got saved because of a lump in his lungs 30 years ago, whenever it was, 20 years ago. I mean, that's the reason he got saved. Yeah. Anyone else? Let's dismiss. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for loving us. Help us have enough faith on the worst day of our life. We know we've had them to trust You. We know that You're in charge. We love You, Lord. Thank You for dying on the cross for us. Thank You for the promise of heaven. And when things when the answers don't come the way we ask for them, we trust Your will's best. We love You, Lord. We want to say all is well, or it will be well. Thank You for using us. Thank You for purging us. We don't like the fire, but we realize there's a purpose for everything. I pray that You'll be glorified in all of our lives. I pray for those who are with us tonight, those who are listening in, those kids in the classes that are lost. We'll see them saved. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Thank You. Be dismissed. Mrs. Yoder's. Dave and Marie were up there. We couldn't find him, and Eric was up there, and we couldn't find him. They have a 6-day horse thing on October